How's it going, guys? Today we're going to be talking about armor sets. When deciding what armor set to use for a certain weapon, we must first look at the general theme of each weapon and ask, what are we trying to achieve by using it? Most weapons fit into a playstyle archetype: CC, DPS, burst damage, support, healer. It's usually pretty easy to tell what the intended use of each weapon is, but there definitely is some wiggle room for sure. You then have to ask what your main focus for that character is. GVG, Zerg vs Zerg, PvE, gathering, ganking, dueling. You usually tailor your armor set to maximize your proficiency in one of these areas. While you can be creative with your choices, there are a few guidelines that I would definitely suggest, usually involving what chest piece you are going to wear. For Zerg vs Zerg, I would recommend that melee wear heavy chest pieces. You need to be as tanky as possible to reliably get off your damage and escape if necessary. By wearing light or medium chest pieces on a melee damage dealer, you are putting unneeded strain on your healers, usually forcing them to overextend, which can lead to their death as well as yours. Ranged DPS and healers. I definitely recommend wearing light chest pieces for Zerg vs Zerg combat. It's more of an efficiency issue for ranged DPS and healers. You need the most bang for your buck, and that's where the light chest piece excels, offering the highest damage and healing bonuses out of all the armor types. For PvE, I would recommend tanks wear a heavy chest piece, as they give a bonus threat generation and have the highest defense values. For healers, once again, wearing a light chest piece is going to offer you the maximum healing output and energy efficiency. DPS, there's a lot more wiggle room for PvE DPS. Usually any chest piece is fine. For maximum efficiency though, I would recommend the light chest piece. For GVGs, the categories are much more loosely defined, so this is where you can become the most creative in terms of weapon armor combinations. While chest piece is certainly more restricted in terms of which chest piece you can wear for certain roles, the helmet and boots on the other hand are completely free choices. There's many good options on the helmet and boots, so it is usually down to personal preference and playstyle. So now I'm going to give you an example of how I go about making an armor build for a certain weapon for a certain situation. The weapon we're going to be focusing on this time is the forged hammers, which is the dual hammers, and the scenario will be in a GVG lineup. While forged hammers can be played multiple ways, I will be taking the position of a bruiser. This means I will be pressuring the enemy healer through snares and damage. For our Q choice, it will be Bash Knee, which provides a spammable snare. W will be Slowing Charge, which is a great gap closer, which also provides another snare. And Giant Steps. Straight away, we can see Giant Steps provides us with an armor buff and an auto attack damage increase. By having such a large armor buff on this ability, this allows us to run either a light chest piece or a medium chest piece and still safely dive the enemy backline. And our primary damage will be auto attack, so any abilities that boosts our auto attacks will be of great benefit to this build. Starting with the chest piece, I will be taking a leather chest piece, as this provides a passive increase to auto attack speed. There is also good offensive options on the Hunter chest piece and the Stalker chest piece. Hunter offers haste, which increases our normal attack speed by 60% and our attack damage by 10% for 8 seconds. Stalker, on the other hand, offers electric field, which unleashes an electric field around you, dealing enemies twice per second for 8 seconds. These abilities both allow us to add extra pressure onto the enemy healer while we're in Giant Steps. Next up, we will be selecting our helmet. As we have taken an offensive ability on our chest piece, it would be wise to get a defensive one on our helmet. There's quite a few good options on helmets for defensive abilities. Primarily, we'll be looking at Guardian with Stone Skin, Soldier with Block, and Mercenary with Cleanse. As we are wearing a leather chest piece, we will be susceptible to stuns, as leather chest pieces have reduced CC resist. So we will be taking the Mercenary helmet with Cleanse, which purges ourselves of all movement impairing effects. This will then allow us to pop our movement skill and get out safely. There's a lot of good choices for boots. It is very much up to personal preference and playstyle. For this build though, we'll be using the Royal Leather Boots, either using Run, which is baseline on all boots, or Evasive Jump, which is an I-framed leap. Both options will allow us to chase down healers and disengage from a fight if needed. And that is that build. So hopefully by hearing and seeing my thought process of how I match different armor components to the weapon's strength, you get a better idea of how to build your own armor sets. Building armor sets in Albion is one of the most fun things, in my opinion. You get to be creative, you get to see how different things work in different ways, different combinations you can apply. It's just a great feature, and there is a lot of viable options in Galahad, probably the most there's ever been. So don't be afraid to experiment with different builds, different weapons, different armor sets, and have fun, because that's what's important, right? Anyway, cheers for watching. If you enjoyed the content, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.